but we're going to talk about collaboration for growth in tech. We have a moderator, Rose Mocero. She's a Deputy Data Commissioner, Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. So I'm going to turn over this to Rose, and she is going to moderate this session. We're going to make it only 30 minutes because of time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Our conversation will be on tech specifically. We've heard a lot of conversation about investments, but we'd like to understand how that plays a part, or how that plays into the tech space. So with me today, I have a very vibrant and very knowledgeable panel. I'll have them introduce themselves, but I can't, I guess protocols prohibit me from having the PS introduce themselves. So I'll introduce my PS, Engineer John Tanui. He can just say a few words, and then I'll have the rest of the panelists say something.
Thank you. John Tanui, Principal Secretary for ICT and Digital Economy. A great pleasure to be here today and interact with Diaspora. These are very important stakeholders for us as we look at how to accelerate Kenya's growth in the digital economy and seeing how we can lay firm foundation for Kenya to rise as a tech country, especially linking with US, a global leader in technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Stephen Kamano Ishada. I'm a technologist by training. I've been in Atlanta over 25 years, so I welcome each and every one of you to Atlanta. I'm extremely interested in having this conversation about what tech means and the future of tech for Kenyans as enabled by the diaspora.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Josephine Dambuki. I'm also a technologist by training. I'm also the Chief Manager, Business Development and Innovation at Konza Technopolis. And I'm so excited to be here with you this evening to carry on a conversation on the role of diasporans in the development of their countries, and specifically in partnership with projects such as Konza Technopolis. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kennedy Mukuna. I am a co-founder of a tech startup called Chapi. I'm actually one of the diaspora who went to school here and then moved back home to start a tech business. So I'm very excited to be on a panel that actually will speak to issues that I've seen and hopefully can get addressed.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Ouma, Dr. Geoffrey. I have a tech company. Our main goal is to do upskilling for those who either want to get into tech, those who want to use tech to complement what they're doing, or those who start a whole new career in tech. So some of the programs we do is data analytics, data science, coding classes that happens for anyone from the age of 5. Our intention is to make sure that AI becomes part of Kenyan system. Because I believe it's through education, through technology, through adoption and acquisition of technology that we are here going to change the face of Kenya. So I'll tell you more about what we're doing, and I'm excited because the conversation here, not only close to my heart, but is so critical for the future of our generation to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I'll start with a question to the PS. You've mentioned what we do and how you want to make, or how we want to make Kenya an attractive destination, specifically when it comes to tech investments. So what is Kenya doing, the government specifically, to ensure that we can get digital jobs to Kenyans?
We are very keen to see that Kenya grows its digital economy and to see that the digital economy contribution to the national GDP grows. World average currently is about 15%. In Kenya, we are about 7%. We want to accelerate so that we can achieve the world's average of 15%. One of the things we are doing is addressing national connectivity, broadband connectivity. We've done very well in mobile broadband, mobile call penetration, but in the fixed broadband connectivity, where most of the jobs will be able to be accessed, that's what we are doing. You've heard about the 100,000 additional kilometers in our ICT infrastructure. This will ensure every part of the country is connected, and we expect to connect up to every ward. We are also building digital hubs, one in every ward, 1,450, to provide platforms for learning and connection to job opportunities. We believe in that space is where we will unlock huge opportunities of jobs, and we've started seeing the benefits. We've seen business process outsourcing centers setting up in Kenya. There was a launch about 2 weeks ago on one by CCI with a capacity of 5,000, and they already had another 4,000. The BPO space can give us about call centers about 500,000 jobs. The whole BPO and IT enables jobs as a country. We can be able to get 1.5 million jobs. But this can only be achieved if we partner with Diaspora. IT outsourcing is a huge business opportunity that our diaspora can do. We've seen a few diaspora who has come to Kenya, set up a small BPO, IT-enabled services, able to have 20, 50 engineers, IT, and provide. So that's a space that we see jobs being created. We also want to attract global tech to the country. We are very proud of what Microsoft have done. They've set up a development center in Kenya. They employed 500 engineers. They started with 100 and grew to 500. And we felt it. Tech companies felt it because they lost the best. As an IT person, I'm an engineer. Once you're working in Safaricom's or in leading banks like KCP, at times you have nowhere to expect to go next. But when Microsoft established its development center, they were able to create the next level opportunities of jobs. And we've become very attractive. That's a space that we want to grow. We also think there are new emerging areas that hopefully we can discuss, and those are some of the initiatives we are taking to unlock opportunities for work.
Thank you so much for that, PS. Going to Dr. Geoffrey Ouma, you specialize in the EdTech sector. Obviously, with the digital jobs, there is a need for upskilling. What are some of the initiatives that you're taking? But also, what are some of the challenges that you're experiencing in terms of bringing 7net to Kenya?
Yeah, 7net is really trying to do what PS has just talked about. Earlier in the day, I was talking to him and I was telling him, PS, we need to have AI as part of the education system. And we agreed. He asked me a question, and I think with Engineer Rege, we are going to make sure that we see what can be done so that our kids can learn AI. Because I will tell you this for sure, nothing in the life of humankind has ever disrupted our system like AI is doing. There's no shortcut about AI. Either you adopt it, be part of it, or be totally out of it. The best you can do now is to make sure that you integrate it as part of our life. Now, at 7net, our main mission is to bridge tech gap for African community. Now, there has been a challenge that Africa does not compete with other global nations. I'll tell you, statistics says that 9 out of 10 African child or African children do lack basic literacy, and that includes IT. What are we doing? And that's where the 7net comes in. I grew up a young man at the age of 12, lost my parents, grew up in the village. It was so hard to get myself to school. Today I'm here talking about a child who went to school, became the best child in private school, the best child or student in high school, went to do a diploma degree, master's, and a PhD. And I'm happy that I represent that person down there who is suffering, a child who needs hope. And that's why 7-8 not only offers training to people in America, but we are also doing the same to people in the village. Today, as I sit here, 2 years ago, 7-8 was born, and we have impacted the life of Kenyans. We have had over 70 children graduating from our school. We've had over 10 people employed under 7-8. We've gone out to impact the basic knowledge, the skill that is needed for someone to be able to sit in the village of Karachuonyo, where I come from, but still have a dream. They can have a job and be competitive with somebody who works at Microsoft, who had the best life in the world, but they still believe that outsourcing is part of what the government talk about, and that's where we come in. Now, our part will be to facilitate. As a trainer, we facilitate what the government wants or what is being needed to make sure that you get there. Now, apart from doing that, we are looking for partnership. Today, I want to announce here, we've partnered with one of the counties in Kenya, and we are going out to roll out the program to over 47 counties to make sure no one is left in the digital era. And we are calling upon everyone, be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. But education's not the only issue that comes into play, and I'll direct this now to Mukuna. Mukuna, you've got I guess a tech solutions company. You experience challenges, obviously, when it comes to coming into the Kenyan space. Are you able to talk about what those challenges are, but also the opportunities that you're seeing, specifically even when it comes to engaging more Kenyans to actually participate in the businesses that you're trying to grow?
Absolutely. Just to give a bit of a preview, we basically work with finance teams in fast-growing businesses to help them get a lot of visibility into how well the business is doing in terms of their own money. It's a ages-old problem, which I think technology has slowly become a very good solution for, and advances in AI have actually particularly helped. Now, to your question that you actually asked, there are a few bits that I think I've shared privately, and I think I'll also try to summarize that for this forum. We're getting to a place where I think as you're investing in technology as tech startups, some of the most expensive labor components in the market right now are actually engineering talent. Microsoft has done a really good job of what the PS was mentioning about a lot of what we're able to basically shoulder as a cost of engineers. And there's a lot of R&D work that we have to do just to really be able to solve the problems at the scale that we hope to solve them at. Right now, there's probably selected parts of the economy that get like incentives to actually pump money into R&D. And we think that a really good opportunity for us as tech startups is to actually get some ability to even recoup some of that R&D cost, so we can keep paying the engineers what they deserve to actually produce solutions for Kenyans and even for markets outside Kenya. So which kind of brings me to my second point. I still believe that, and I think a while back I used to work in manufacturing and analysis of export analysis. I think about 40 to 45% of our exports are services. And a big opportunity that we have as Kenyans right now is to actually export these services abroad. I'm really excited to see a case where like Chapi or like any other startup that we have here can actually be based in Kenya and sell those services to, let's say, the city of Atlanta, for instance. And for me, the more I've looked at this space, I've realized one thing. If we are able to get basically bilateral partnerships that allow us to get like soft landing programs, I'm not telling the government to do our work in terms of business development or making sure our product makes sense. But could we get to a place where like even understanding how regulation works in this country, how to get through the tax situation and things of that nature? If those go into some of the trade and investment agreements that are being signed with the US, I think that will really get us in a powerful position. And we've seen a lot of countries benefit from things like this, Israel, India, things of that nature. And I think the last thing I want to talk about now is just around the government itself, and I think there's been a lot of push around helping small businesses grow and getting us to be really powerful in terms of our growth story. You can do a lot in terms of like empowering the small business offices within the different entities that exist in government. So I know we have, massive procurement capability as a government in Kenya. Let's get some of us as tech companies to be in those small business programs so that we can provide those solutions to the government at this particular point. So that's what I can say in a nutshell.
Wonderful. And before I come to my other two panelists, I think that's a question that's been posed to the PS, and I think even in Dr. Ouma's statement, there was something that perhaps needs to be clarified or clear. So PS to you, there's a lot that the Kenyan government is doing in terms of leading the charge to ensure that we're creating an enabling environment, whether it's for tech startups or for companies in Kenya looking to set up, or even companies that are already set up wishing to export their business to other jurisdictions such as the US. Are you able to tell us a bit more about this?
I want to agree with the comments they have put forward. More specifically, the potential for Kenya is export of services. This is where we can have quick win as a country, and we are advantaged because we have great talent. I think our biggest resource as a country is the human capital. The investment which the country has done in our talent over the years, we could say is our biggest asset. When we see Microsoft setting up a development center, when we see Amazon Web Services putting up a development center, it's a validation of that fact. But now we want to see the Kenyan enterprises now rising and exporting these services. What I would want to encourage those who are in that space is to engage government. You are the one who knows where the shoe pinches. Engage us, tell us exactly what you want us to address. We've done this with the global tech companies who are eyeing to enter our country. They have given us their issues. We list them and we work with them, and we've been able to address most of the issues to improve the investment climate in Kenya. The other part is how to improve the export of services. I think one of the things is there were some taxes removed on export of services, which was one of the 9 things we were working on. And we want to do more, especially for our Kenyan enterprises who can scale and export services, create jobs for our people. So if there are specific issues that need support from us, we are ready to facilitate that. And if it is putting as part of the issues in a bilateral trade negotiation, we are ready to do that. And we just want to mention, we've seen quite significant progress of even a partnership between Kenyan enterprises and, in this case, American companies. And we've seen the synergy created, and we are able to see better outputs. So that's also what we want to encourage our Kenyan SMEs. The quickest way to grow and to expand is also through partnership, collaboration, linking up with companies in this country so that we can leverage the strengths of the 2 countries. So I think those are the things I would put.
Absolutely, wonderful. And to that, I'll go to Dr. Ichaba. Hopefully I've said it correctly. You worked in Kenya, you worked in the US, you understand, I guess, the needs when it comes to even big tech and what, I guess, Kenyan companies, specifically when it comes to tech companies, needs to actually have to grow. So what are some of the things that you see, and there's a statement that's constantly said by the US government, the US ambassador to Kenya, why Kenya? So for you, why Kenya?
That's a really good question. So in addition to being a technologist, I've been privileged to be able to teach both in Kenya and the US. And so with that in mind, I've had the opportunity to see how digital readiness works in both of them. But specifically, why Kenya? I think we need to stop thinking of transitional steps towards technology and build big dreams. And the biggest dream that I can see for Kenya is for us to stop talking about tourism, about farming, about all those things and say the reason to say yes to Kenya is because of technology. And here's a specific thing we can do. I would like us to have a dream to build the first data center, the first network infrastructure in Kenya so that we can attract the digital and network infrastructure that can power all of Africa. Now, by saying yes, we can to that, then that helps us understand what type of jobs would be needed to build a data center in Kenya. Do we have people who know logistics and supply chain? Yes. Do we have people who understand geology? Yes. Do we have chemical, mechanical, electrical engineers? Yes. So I think sometimes when we think about tech, all we think about is the software and the cloud computing layer. But there's all these jobs that we can actually, by saying yes, be able to provide for Kenyans. So I would say this, let us dream big. Let us make big ambitions. And let us not be touting just tourism and agriculture. Let's be saying the reason to come to Kenya is because Kenya is indeed a digital savannah, and you can find the first data center there. That's what I want to tell the ambassador.
Wonderful. And to you, Jocelyn, which just goes right into what Konza does. You've heard what Dr. Uchada has said. How exactly does that fit in with what Konza is doing? You've got an ambitious, I guess, portfolio when it comes to building Konza as not just a Silicon Savannah, but the face of the Silicon Savannah, a smart city. What are you doing in terms of investing in tech, enabling innovation, enabling research for that innovation? What does Konza have to offer?
Thank you very much. And I think this question comes right after a very good challenge is thrown to us. So I think I want to invite the diasporans to an amazing project that the government of Kenya has thought about and is implementing. And this is Konza Technopolis. So Konza Technopolis is a place and a platform. And it is an ambitious objective to transform Kenya into a knowledge economy. When you think about knowledge economy, you look at a place that is powered by knowledge, data, research, innovation, commercialization of innovation, and just application of emerging technologies for development. And that is what is happening at Konza. So I know some of you might have heard about Konza and they are wondering when will we have this city. But as we speak, we are starting to realize the reality of this phenomenal project that is being developed. And why am I saying it's phenomenal? It's because at Konza, we are building a smart city and a science park and an area of innovation. And as a smart city, you expect that we are developing some of the best technologies. So we have the first vacuum-based waste collection system. We have a water system that recycles up to 70% of water and reticulates that for usage. We now have 2 universities. The first one, the first open learning university that was chartered last year in September, and right now has 2,000 students and 11 nationalities represented. We have the postgraduate research university that is just about to open its doors and is built and anchored and mentored by the Korea Advanced Science and Technology, that is the KAIST. And another connection is that the Korea KAIST was mentored by Stanford University. And so as you start to see these clusters opening up, we create spaces for collaborations on research, innovation, and commercialization of that innovation. At Konza, we have the first national data center, a Tier 3 uptime certified data center, platinum, actually the first in Africa to be certified. And so we are looking at a place that allows for innovation and startups to create locally, contextually relevant solutions to power the African needs. And so why is this important? It is important because when you look at the transformation of the world economies, Africa holds the highest potential. With 1.3 billion people and growing up to 2 billion in the next few years, most of the global tech companies are actually looking at Africa. And so why should we not create these solutions in Africa? And so at Konza, we have developed the App Store. There's Google App Store, there's Apple App Store, and we are now ambitiously taking up the Silicon Savannah App Store. And we want to ensure that African solutions, African innovations can be accessed from an Africa Play Store. And these can be commercialized and can be developed. And how are we doing this is through collaborations. We recognize that the startups, the SME businesses, the innovators are all over the world and also in Kenya. And so what we are doing is that we are bringing them together and supporting them to actually create and commercialize these solutions. And so that means, therefore, that there is a space for each one of us. wherever we are. And as Konza, we are saying, Kenya has exported a lot of talent. We have some of us working in most of the best companies in America and in the world. And how can you use that to build back your country? And this is a model that has been leveraged by economies such as Korea. They took their people to the diaspora, they went land, and they have transformed their country into a first world economy. And so we are looking at leveraging the same model. Come back home, come to Konza, let's work together to create solutions in your sectors. And our focus areas is IT and IT-enabled services, life sciences, and emerging technologies and engineering. So we are saying that bring that talent, and that talent could also be your networks. Right now, we have an ambitious project to create 1 million jobs enabled by technology. Some of us are working in companies that are exporting the BPO. They have the jobs and they are connecting them. Let us connect them back home so that we can create jobs for many people. We're also looking at funding. You know, some of us are working in organizations that are investing very significantly in developing countries and in countries such as Kenya. We are there to create those projects and bid together and get those resources so that we can build the country and build the knowledge economy of the country. For the academia in the room, with KAIST, we are looking to create a research for commercialization purposes. For those who have worked in these spaces, what are the models that are working here? What can Kenya learn? We have a chance to really use that to make a difference in our country. And so I think for me is to say we have a platform. It's not that we don't know where to start. We have this phenomenal opportunity to really bring and plug in and work together and commercialize, create values and go to the market so that we can increase both our individual incomes and our national development priorities as we transform the country into an industrializing economy. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Jospin. And I feel like there should be a connection between Dr. Uma Mukuna and Konza to ensure that there is growth there. One of the things that I'll give everyone just a minute to talk about this. It's been recurrent as a theme across how to, across the conversation that we're having, whether it was when we were having our one-on-ones outside or here, collaboration, partnerships. So can we just in one sentence, if you can, or as brief as you can, one sentence might be too short, talk about how partnerships and collaboration would actually benefit your organization, and what sorts of partnerships and collaborations you're looking for as well.
I would say this. Yeah. So one of the ICT opportunities available for anyone in Kenya and here is partnership. Now, apart from partnership, there are many ways. You talked about something very important. Now, partnership could be industry partnership, global partnership, government partnership, right? There are a number of partnerships that can happen. Now, in earlier speech, I talked about partnership that we're already making with the schools, with the county government, and I believe that we need to desist from the conversation of brain drain to brain share. Very important. So I believe that strategic partnership that we are going to make will be, number one, help in accelerating technology. It will help in saving cost. It will help in government initiative that she talked about, IT-enabled services. I know there's Jinue, is it Jinue? And then there's digital, Ajira Digital, okay? So those are the good initiatives. But again, we want to come in. We want to come in to partner. So one of the things we want to do, I mean, this is very important. From the statistics, last year, global remittance was 4.2 billion. This year, the first quarter, we already have 1.2 billion sent. Now, that is part of it. We have direct remittance, direct investment that we were already doing at our level, right? But you want to partner with the government. You want to partner with the government agencies and entities like Konza. Now, what we want to do is sit on a round table. Look at what you want from us, what it is that we can offer, what the government can offer, because our mission is the same, to make sure that we make Kenya the IT place where anyone else can be able to get best skills, cost-effective, well-skilled, rounded, citizens who can be able to support the project like outsourcing and many other government projects. And we are ready. We want to have a conversation. The time is too short. But if you tell me today, let's have a meeting, I'll be more than ready. And that's what I'm proposing from the government and the government agencies. Let's make sure that we sit around the table and make sure that we improve the services, support the people, and not forgetting the future. Because as we talk about current, the sustainability, that we use what we have now, but take care of the future, because we don't need to exhaust all the resources. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mukuna, I'll ask you a slightly different question, but you can answer the last one that has been mentioned. You raised a very important issue when it comes to companies such as yours, or just tech startups generally, and this is funding. Investments, specifically investments when they come from Kenya or the Kenyan diaspora. What is your feeling about this, and what can you encourage people when it comes to even investing in companies that will then affect or grow the tech space in Kenya?
Yeah, so I'll start with a small anecdote. Our startup is funded. We've raised quite a bit of capital across time, and I would say maybe 80% of that capital has come from outside Kenya. And when we talk to Kenyan investors, saying that you guys understand the problems, so trying to solve what's going on, the main issue has always been around either about a tax issue or the strength of the laws in terms of investor protection. And so you'll find, like, and it's not unusual, everyone knows here, every startup will go to Delaware and incorporate in Delaware and then start raising funds from there. There's a big opportunity, and I think with the whole SEZ conversation, getting some really powerful things around the financial center that we have within the Treasury, empower that to be something that investors can recognize. So we have a lot more money coming from diaspora, knowing that there's good investor protection that can actually flow back into our startups. If it's okay, I can answer the other question as well. I had a few things I wanted to say. The first thing is just to kind of double back on the bilateral question. There are three things that come to mind. I think I talked about taxation, like export of services into the US. You could have what is done in AGOA happen on the tech services side. That'll be really fantastic. This immigration. Right now, if you're trying to set up a company in the US, you're kind of working on the visitor's visa. It's a 6-month visa. You guys know it's very difficult to do anything useful in 6 months. So there's something that could be done on that perspective that'll be really powerful. And I think the last bit I would say is more on the kind of the operational side of things. What kind of sales strategy should we be thinking more about? Which small business development centers should we know in the US and kind of talk to as well? The second part of that is actually to the corporates in the room. I saw KCB, who we love dearly, Safaricom as well. Any vibrant tech ecosystem needs connectivity, which the government is doing a fantastic job around. High quality human capital, which our kids are going to school. He's an example. He started from the bottom, now he's here. And then the third piece now is the corporate people really providing a platform that we can work together on. I would love a case where, you guys are able to give us, even as we're working to some of these opportunities, trying to fight for ourselves in the American market, let's walk into this market together. You guys have this risk management framework. You're moving to DRC for I think I've seen KCB buy quite a bit of stuff. Equity has done the same thing. Let's export that template around here and make our country what it's supposed to be. So that's it.
Wonderful. I can see the MC gearing to close this session. So if we just have...
Yeah, we'll have Q&A.
Okay, wonderful. If you just allow just less than a minute for everyone to just state the question around collaboration, or an answer around collaboration and partnership would be very good. And then we'll take 2 questions. Josephine.
Thank you. So for collaboration, I'll speak to 2 very practical ones. One is that last year in December, we hosted the Diaspora Homecoming in Konza. And one of the agreements was to form to have an investment specifically for the diasporans in Kenya. And that is going on in the diaspora affairs. So I hope all of you will take part and find out how can you be part of that project that is specifically established for the diasporans of Kenya at Konza Technopolis by the Ministry of the Diasporan Office of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The second one is that we need support across different platforms. We, as developing the startup for the Silicon Savannah, we are looking at how can we transform the funding of the startups. So we say we are the highest investable by the venture capitalists, but what if that investment was coming from Kenyans in diaspora that are investing in our startups and we're able to grow those from Kenya? So we have those opportunities for you to actually apply yourself in your intellectual capacity to build. And therefore, I invite you to be a friend of Konza, which is a model that allows you to come in with your expertise and support the development of the science park and area of innovation at Konza. We'll be able to discuss investments opportunity. We can invest as an individual, as a group, as a chama, as friends. So all that will be possible for purpose of discussion.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We need to wrap this up. Rose, please.
Sorry, if you just,
Yeah.
just
Maybe 2-3 seconds, but we need to get some questions.
That's fine.
Collaboration is about trust. I encourage the Diaspora office to create a trust bank. And let's not forget, they are also the children of American-born children of Kenyans who are here. And it's the responsibility of Diaspora in Kenya to maintain that pipeline to help with the remittance that was talked about.
Thank you so much. And
We
to
can
you.
go to the questions and then I can
Okay,
talk at the end.
wonderful. Go for it.
Thank you, thank you. Let us give a loud of applause for this team. Wow, there is a lot of opportunity in collaboration in the growth of tech industry, and everybody needs to know tech because that's going to advance you in every area you are working on. So quickly, we're going to have 2 questions. So we're going to have a gender balance here. So let me have you. I don't know, you can introduce yourself. And then we're going to have you answer the questions together.
My name is Engineer James Reggae. I'm based here in the US. We teach the kids to prepare themselves for the future in high tech with Dr. Mako Uma. We teach them very high technology. Otherwise, I want to talk for the diaspora in this house. I believe I'm the oldest diaspora in this country. I came here in 1974. I went to school, built satellites for 30 years. Then I went home. And I'm so happy to see friends like the PS, ICT. I'm so happy to see the lady talking about Konza City. And everybody in Kenya is enjoying undersea cable. Undersea cable, Konza, those are my brainchild when I was PS. I'm so happy that the president appointed this time someone who is responsible for diaspora, and that is you. Thank you so much, because you will hear our cries. When we are talking about development and investment in Kenya, we should be truthful to ourselves. Twice now, in the mid-90s, I went home to become the second GSM network operator. I was told that you don't belong to the right community. I'm sorry to say that. And I'm saying that because I'm bitter. Second time, and that is this time. My question is coming. Just allow me, PS. Second time is I went to Kenya to ask for frequencies to do data network. The frequencies is not a lorry, it's not a car. And I don't want it for free. I have investors in this country with 2 frequencies only. Kenya wants 11 billion Kenya shillings. I have investors ready, but I'm being told that talks are going around wondering whether I have money in the bank. Sometimes they are wondering whether I'm from Nigeria. Now, the question to PS, is it because I'm black? If you think I'm black, you would not be talking about Kwanzaa. You would not be talking about undersea cable in the country. And I know that because you are CEO of Kwanzaa before. Today, I received a letter telling me that, I'm a very bitter person. I received a letter telling me that, sorry, we went to the owners of the frequencies. This is by Communications Authority, but they were told that there's no frequency. I know frequencies are there. I wrote the policy in ICT when I was a PS, and I know it is there. Is it because of me?
Engineer, I got a question. I will respond. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. One more question. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, gender balance. Thank you so much for that question. Make it short.
My name is Afiona Songa. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Technology Service Providers Association of Kenya. It's a local industry body that helps investors when they come into Kenya. We've been very instrumental in getting the big tech into the country over the last 25 years. Now, my question is to the service providers who are sitting there, including Konza. Before you come to the diaspora and start telling them all the good things that you're doing, I think you're forgetting the first stakeholder who's at home. Why? Because the people in this room will call home and they'll ask the Kenyans there, what do you know about Konza? What do you know about SS70T? What do you know about each of the companies that has presented there? Then you find that Kenyans don't know you. They don't know about what you're doing. They don't understand what you're doing. So while you want them to invest, they also go to check and they are finding that trust. He said collaboration comes with trust. Build the trust at home so that as you come in to invest, you're riding on trust that is there, that is going to support your businesses as you move along. You have very beautiful ideas, but I think if you don't build on the network capital of home and the stakeholder at home, we may end up losing some very good ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
have only one person
Yep,
answer the question so we can wrap this session up.
that's
Thank you.
fine. I'll give the PS to answer both questions and he can just say some closing remarks as he does.
Thank you. Before I answer the two questions, I just want to assure our diaspora that as a country, we are committed to ensure Kenya takes the space in the technology. We want to leverage the friendship we have with this great country. We want to leverage your presence here to ensure that we put Kenya in the right path. We want to be the leader in digital and tech in the African continent. And we are on course on this. Daktari here asked some of the things he thinks we need to do. One, to make Kenya a data hub to host data centers. I can assure you one of the announcements which will come out of this visit will be fully in line on that. We have been looking how to optimize two things, our renewable energy and our talent. And now we can convince the global tech giants to put hyperscale data centers in Kenya, and I think that would be a great output of this visit.
Thank
The
you.
second thing that we are working on is to create jobs. We see a quick opportunity for us to have up to 1 million, 1.5 million Kenyans access job opportunities through the PPOs. We are on track on this, and we encourage our diaspora to do something. We have Kenyans, I think we had someone here called Humphrey Muchoma. He already has 200 Kenyans working for American companies back at home in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity has a cap of almost 4 million unfilled jobs. If you Google and check, US alone has a shortage of over 700,000. Kenya needs about 50,000 of that jobs. You can connect us to those opportunities. We work with the training institutions and equip our young people with those skills. Lastly, we believe we can go to the front. Somebody was saying we need a real leap in the front. Semiconductors, is the key conversation globally now. How do we put Kenya in that front? How do we engage academia? I think the next conversation will be talking even about universities. My colleague PS is here. We want to make sure we are part of the global ecosystem, just like countries like Israel, Korea, and even Taiwan, that we can play in that space.
Thank you.
Lastly, we look forward to connecting with you, Diaspora, to research institutions. Professor Mutisha here, he took me to top research institutions in this country. We want you to link this to our universities at home. If we do not play the knowledge economy, we will not achieve the transformation we are looking for. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, thank you, thank
And
you.
lastly, on the two questions, we are working on the communication. And to Engineer Reke, visit us at home. We have this conversation. You have been in government before for many years, probably longer than me. We will have conversation on how these issues can be addressed. We are attracting investment. We do not want to turn down any funding coming to our country. We are ready to support you and any other diaspora who has opportunity. Our doors are open. And of course, in respect to regulations and the status of existing infrastructure and ecosystem. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, thank you. Let us give a loud of applause to this team, terrific team. We are grateful. Yeah, we are ready actually for the next session. And I'm going to have my co-MC, Sami Reri, take over for the next session. For those who don't know my names, my names are Catherine Jogu, and I live here in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you, and thank you so much for everything.